You are 68 years old. You are driving home from the pharmacy. You have been a licensed driver for 50 years with 0 accidents. Then red and blue lights appear in your rearview mirror. The officer walks up, and within the first 30 seconds, he asks you one simple question. Have you taken any medication today? Most seniors answer honestly, immediately, without thinking. And the moment they do, they have just handed that officer the exact ammunition he needs to turn a routine stop into a full impairment investigation. I have examined over 200 recorded traffic encounters involving drivers over 65. The pattern is undeniable. Senior drivers are disproportionately targeted with questions designed to extract information about health conditions, medications, and cognitive status. Officers are trained to watch for specific visual cues that older drivers naturally display. Slower movements, hearing delays, trouble locating documents, and interpret those cues as potential impairment. The result? Perfectly capable drivers get subjected to field sobriety tests they were never designed to pass. In this video, I am breaking down 5 new and updated driving laws in 2026 that every American over 65 must understand before getting behind the wheel. I will show you the officer's move and give you the exact tactical counter moves to shut it down. This is tactical education to help you understand how traffic stops work. For specific legal advice, consult an attorney in your state. This is tactical education only. For specific legal guidance, consult a licensed attorney in your jurisdiction. Law number 1 is the Real ID enforcement trap. Here is the real situation. Since May 7th, 2025, federal enforcement of the Real ID Act has been in full effect. Every driver in America now needs a Real ID compliant license, identified by a gold or black star in the upper corner, to board domestic flights and enter federal facilities like courthouses, Social Security offices, and military bases. Your old standard license still works perfectly for driving. You can still hand it to an officer during a traffic stop. But if that license does not have the star marking, you are one airport trip away from being turned away at TSA. Here is what officers are trained to look for. During a traffic stop, if an officer runs your license and the record shows you are overdue for renewal, or if your license is flagged as non-Real ID compliant in states where the upgrade window has closed, that can prompt additional questioning about your status and identity. For senior drivers who have not updated their license in years, this creates a tactical vulnerability. Here is the wrong move most seniors make. They hand over a non-compliant license without knowing it, then become confused and flustered when the officer starts asking follow-up questions. That confusion registers on body camera as potential impairment. Your counter move is this. Before your next renewal, verify whether your current license has the Real ID star marking. If it does not, visit your DMV, bring your birth certificate, proof of Social Security number, and 2 documents proving your current address. Get the upgrade done. Then during any traffic stop, you hand over your documents calmly and say exactly this. Officer, my license, registration, and insurance. Nothing more. You do not explain. You do not volunteer your age or health status. You do not apologize for anything. You hand over 3 documents, and you stay calm. The tactical field rule for law number 1 is this. Your updated Real ID compliant license is your first line of tactical defense. Get it done before your next renewal. Now, here is what most people watching this video do not realize. Even if you have already updated your license, a traffic stop itself can trigger a DMV referral. And in 2026, the rules governing those referrals changed significantly. But before I get there, let us cover the law that has seniors in one of the most populous states in America celebrating. Because for the first time in history, a state just made driving easier for older Americans instead of harder. Law number 2 is the Illinois Road Safety and Fairness Act. This one took effect July 1st, 2026. And if you drive in Illinois or have family there, this is a major win. Here is the real situation. For decades, Illinois was the only state in the entire country that required drivers to take a full behind-the-wheel road test based solely on their age. The moment you turned 79, you were forced back behind the examiner's clipboard. No accident history required, no medical concern required, just your age. Governor J.B. Pritzker signed House Bill 1226, the Road Safety and Fairness Act into law in August 2025. It takes effect July 1st, 2026. Under the new law, the mandatory road test age jumps from 79 all the way to 87. That means if you are between 79 and 86 years old in Illinois, you are no longer required to take a behind-the-wheel driving test at renewal. You will still need to renew in person and pass a vision test. And if you have violations on your record, a written exam may be required. But the automatic road test based on age alone is gone. According to the Illinois Department of Transportation, the crash rate for drivers 75 and older is actually lower than every age group between 16 and 74. The data supported removing this burden. Here is the tactical piece most people miss about this law. It also created Illinois' first ever family reporting system. Now, immediate family members, spouses, parents, children, siblings, grandparents can confidentially report concerns about a loved one's driving ability to the Secretary of State's office if they believe a medical or cognitive condition is affecting that person's safety behind the wheel. This matters tactically for every senior in Illinois because it means there are now more pathways for a DMV review to be triggered. Stay tactical, stay calm, stay informed. Field rule for law number 2. If you are in Illinois in between 79 and 86, you no longer face an automatic road test at renewal, but you must still renew in person and pass vision screening. That covers what Illinois changed, but vision testing is becoming the central battleground for senior drivers across the entire country. And what you do not know about your own state's vision rules could cost you your license without warning. Law number 3 is the vision test and renewal requirement trap. Here is the real situation. 41 states now require vision screening at license renewal, but the age at which it kicks in and what happens when you do not pass varies dramatically by state. Officers are trained to use driver's license information to identify drivers who may be overdue or non-compliant with renewal requirements. If your license is expired or flagged in the system, that becomes grounds for further investigation during a traffic stop. Here is how the tactical landscape breaks down by state. In California, drivers 70 and older must renew in person every 5 years and pass a vision test at each renewal. Effective October 2024, California eliminated the written test for drivers at renewal who have a clean record, but you still must show up in person and pass the vision exam. In Florida, drivers 80 and older must pass a vision test at every renewal. Renewals drop from every 8 years to every 6 years once you hit 80. The vision minimum is 20/50 in at least one eye, with or without corrective lenses. If you fail, you can have a licensed physician or optometrist complete the state-mandated mature driver vision test form. In Texas, shorter license validity periods apply as you age. Drivers 85 and older receive 2-year licenses instead of the standard 8-year cycle. In-person renewals and vision screening are required. In Arizona, drivers 65 and older renew every 5 years instead of every 12. Vision tests are required at every renewal. The tactical mistake most seniors make is waiting until the last moment to renew, then discovering they need a vision test they have not prepared for. Here is your counter move. Schedule your eye exam at least 60 days before your renewal date. Bring the documentation to your DMV appointment. If your vision does not meet the minimum standard, do not panic. Most states offer restricted licenses, daytime-only driving, local area limitations, rather than outright revocation. A restricted license preserves your mobility. Fight for it. Your tactical field rule for law number 3. Know your state's age-based renewal threshold, schedule your vision exam in advance, and walk into the DMV with documentation in hand. Preparation is the tactical advantage. Vision requirements affect your ability to renew. But there is a more immediate threat at the roadside, one that senior drivers are uniquely vulnerable to because of how officers interpret the physical signs of aging. Without a countermove ready, a completely innocent medical condition can justify an impairment investigation. Law number 4 is the medical confusion trap at traffic stops. Here is the real situation. Officers receive training on what the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration calls impairment indicators. These include slurred speech, confusion when answering questions, fumbling for documents, bloodshot or watery eyes, and slow movements. Here is the problem. Every single one of those indicators is also a completely normal symptom of aging, prescription medication side effects, hearing loss, arthritis, or anxiety. One study found that as many as 1 in 4 diabetic drivers has been suspected of driving under the influence at some point simply due to hypoglycemic symptoms. According to the ADA, individuals with hearing loss, visual impairments, or conditions like Parkinson's may not recognize or properly respond to officer directions, and those responses can be misread as uncooperative or impaired. Here is what actually goes down when a senior is pulled over without a tactical plan. The officer walks up. The senior takes a moment to locate the window button, already noted as delayed response. The senior is wearing hearing aids and asks the officer to repeat the question, noted as confusion. The senior moves slowly, reaching for their license due to arthritis, noted as impaired motor function. None of these are crimes, but on body camera without context, they build a narrative the officer can use. Here is your counter move. Before the officer reaches your window, say this out loud as they approach, and make sure your camera is recording. Good evening, officer. I am not impaired. I have a hearing condition, and I take prescription medication for my blood pressure. I will provide my license, registration, and insurance. Say that 3 times right now. Practice it. I am not impaired. I have a hearing condition, and I take prescription medication. I will provide my license, registration, and insurance. You have just neutralized the medical confusion trap. You have volunteered nothing incriminating. You have provided context. You have demonstrated verbal clarity, and everything is on camera. If the officer then asks, "Have you taken any medication today?" your counter move is this: "Officer, am I being detained, or am I free to leave?" That question forces the officer to legally define the status of the encounter. Your tactical field rule for law number 4. Explain your physical limitations before they become misinterpreted as impairment indicators. Context on camera is your tactical protection. Now here is where many senior drivers think they are safe. Clean records, careful driving, never been in trouble. But there is a 2026 mechanism that can trigger a mandatory DMV review of your driving privileges based not on what happens in court, but on what an officer writes down after a routine stop. Law number 5 is the officer-triggered DMV referral system. Here is the real situation. In every state, law enforcement officers have the authority to submit a safety concern referral to the DMV if they believe a driver showed signs of cognitive or physical impairment during a traffic stop, even if they write no citation and make no arrest. According to documentation from DMV training materials, behaviors that can trigger a referral include drifting between lanes or confusion at intersections, delayed reaction times or difficulty following instructions, appearing disoriented about location or time, and struggling to produce required documents. When an officer submits a referral, the DMV reviews the report and may require the driver to complete a retest before their next renewal, or even before they are permitted to continue driving. Now in 2026, this mechanism has expanded. Illinois just added a family reporting pathway. Several other states have broadened medical reporting requirements. The tactical question: what behaviors during a traffic stop are most likely to trigger a referral? Here is the live exchange that puts you in danger. Officer says, "Do you know where you are right now?" Driver says, "Of course I do. I am just a little confused about why you stopped me." Officer notes, driver appeared disoriented. There is your referral. Your counter move is delivered calmly, clearly, and on camera. When an officer asks orientation-style questions, your response is this: "Officer, I am choosing to remain silent beyond providing my required documents. I am invoking my right to remain silent." Say that 3 times. I am invoking my right to remain silent. Under the 5th Amendment, as affirmed in Berghaus versus Tompkins, your silence cannot be used as evidence of guilt, but that right must be stated explicitly. The wrong move is staying quiet without invoking it. Silence alone is not protected. The words are your protection. Field rule for law number 5. An officer can trigger a DMV review based solely on what they observe at a traffic stop. Your countermove is to invoke your right to remain silent before the probing questions begin. Now let us apply the 4 countermoves every senior driver must have memorized. The 4 countermoves for senior drivers in 2026. Countermove number 1. Am I free to leave? This forces the officer to legally define whether you are detained or whether this is a voluntary encounter. If you are free to leave, gather your returned documents and drive away. If you are being detained, the officer must have reasonable suspicion. You now ask, "Officer, what is the lawful basis for this detention?" Countermove number 2. I am invoking my right to remain silent. This is your most powerful weapon at a traffic stop. You have provided your license, registration, and insurance. Everything beyond that is voluntary. When the officer starts asking where you are going, have you been drinking, what medications are you on, your countermove is clear and calm. I am invoking my right to remain silent. 3 times. I am invoking my right to remain silent. Do not add anything after it. Do not explain. Do not apologize. Countermove number 3. I want to speak with an attorney. This terminates all questioning immediately. Under the Supreme Court's ruling in Davis versus United States, once you clearly invoke your right to counsel, all interrogation must stop. You do not have to be under arrest to say this. You can deploy it at any point during the encounter. I want to speak with an attorney. Countermove number 4. I do not consent to searches. You must say this clearly and unambiguously. A simple, polite search request from an officer is not a legal command. Officers are trained to make requests sound like orders. Your countermove. Officer, are you requesting or ordering me to allow a search? If it is a request, your answer is, I do not consent to any searches of my vehicle or my person. If it is an order, you say, I am complying under your order. I want my non-consent on the record. Your camera captures everything. The live exchange looks like this. Officer, do you mind if I take a look in your car? Senior driver. Officer, are you requesting or ordering that? Officer, I am asking. Senior driver. I do not consent to any searches. Am I free to leave? This is not confrontational. This is calm, tactical, and legally precise. Repeat your 4 counter moves right now out loud. Am I free to leave? I am invoking my right to remain silent. I want to speak with an attorney. I do not consent to searches. Here is the tactical composure protocol every senior driver needs before any encounter. First 60 seconds procedure. Signal and pull over at a well-lit visible location. Engine off, keys visible on the dashboard. Dome light on if it is dark. Hands at 10 and 2 visible at all times. Lock your doors. Crack your window 2 to 3 inches maximum. State through the crack. Vehicle is secured. I will pass documents through the window. This controls access, limits plain view exposure, and demonstrates you know your rights without appearing hostile. Stay calm, stay tactical, stay in control. State-specific tactical variations. In California, if you are 70 or older, renew in person with a vision test. No written test if your record is clean. In Florida, the vision minimum at 80 plus is 20/50. Your doctor can submit the form directly. In Illinois, as of July 1st, 2026, mandatory road tests kick in at 87, not 79. Drivers 79 through 86 need in-person renewal and vision screening only. In Texas, drivers 85 and older receive 2-year licenses and must renew in person with vision screening. In all states, no state can revoke your license based on age alone. Every review requires specific documented evidence. Your composure during a traffic stop is part of your legal record. Get emotional, and you lose control of the encounter. Stay tactical, and you keep the advantage. Be polite, not talkative. Cooperation does not equal conversation. Officers fill silence with questions. You fill silence with your constitutional rights. Your recording combined with their body camera equals your tactical advantage. Deploy it early. For everyone's safety, I am recording this interaction. Here is your field rule that covers everything in this video. Knowing the law is your first layer of protection. Invoking your rights is your second. Staying composed under pressure is your third. And the senior driver who masters all 3 cannot be outmaneuvered at a traffic stop. Your 4 countermoves every single time. 1. Am I free to leave? 2. I am invoking my right to remain silent. 3. I want to speak with an attorney. 4. I do not consent to searches. Right now, pull out your phone, open your Notes app, and type those 4 phrases. Screenshot it. Keep it accessible. Practice saying them out loud 3 times before driving tomorrow. This is tactical education only, not legal advice. Always consult with a qualified attorney in your state for your specific situation. If this video gave you tactical intelligence you have never heard before, hit the like button now. Subscribe to Traffic Stop Tactics and ring that notification bell. Share this with every senior driver in your life because this knowledge belongs to everyone. The next video on your screen right now gives you advanced counter moves that build on what you just learned. Click it now while this training is fresh. And tell me in the comments, where in the world are you? And what time is it there? I read every one of those. You have decades of road experience. Now you have the tactical intelligence to match it. Know the laws. Own the encounter.